everybody. I am just working to share this video real quick onto another one of my groups. So bear with me for 1 minute while I figure this out. So today we're going to be talking about chapter 2 in the What Next What Next Lord book. Why ain't this working? Let's see. So what we're going to get into is chapter 2. Sorry, I'm trying to get this shared. I want to drag this out. And chapter 2 basically focuses on preparing for marriage. So it is not just about being the wife. It's also about preparing either yourself or even your daughter or your if somebody you're raising or somebody close to you, if you are in some kind of women ministry, maybe women, whoever it may be, preparing them, getting them situated, getting them ready, knowing what should you be doing, what should you not be doing, stuff like that. I can't figure out how to share this. I'll have to do that later. Okay, so let's just kind of get right into it. So I start off chapter 2 talking about our cover, about the little girl in the cover, which if you don't know, that is actually my daughter. And I talk about how she looks so cute and she's got these pearls and she has these, she looks like she's ready, but yet the one thing she's fully missing is her dress. And I talk about timing. I can tell you right now, and I tell this to a lot of young ladies, if you are not in the timing of God, you are automatically out of the will of God. Timing has got to play a factor in the will of God in your life. So if you're getting things situated, if you're getting things prepared in your life, if you're trying to take that next step, whether it's ministry, whether it's marriage, whether it's having a baby, whether it's starting a career, whether it's going to school, whatever it is, it still has to be in the timing of God. You've got to line it up. If you do things prematurely or too late, you're out of the will of God. So I started off talking about timing, because timing is so important. Most people don't even realize how important to make sure that you're in the season of God. You've got to be in a God season. You've got to be in God's timing. Then I go on to talk about different marriages through the Bible, different parents who had their hands in marriage, really. Talk about Isaac and Rebecca. That goes back to making sure that we have the right one. I stress that if you don't have the right bride or the right husband, it can actually, if you guys remember last week, how it can be a source of grief. Well, this kind of confirms that, and it just goes back to even down to Abraham was too old to go to the place of his birth, so he sent a servant. He gave his servant direct instructions. When the servant was coming close to the land, he prayed a very direct prayer. He said, God of Abraham, I need you to do this, and I need you to show me this way. When I ask her for a drink, let her say, not only will I give you a drink, but I will give a drink for your camels as well. Now listen, this is not like a quick thing. I mean, camels drink a lot of water. He had 10 camels. Not only that, but this is not just a well where she's pulling up a bucket from the water. She had to go down into like a low spot. She had to go down into the well, and she had to bring up the water. So it was a very exhausting thing she was doing. So this servant, and through Abraham, they were very direct in their prayers. When you are preparing your daughter, you're preparing your son for marriage. You've got to be very direct with your prayers. Now listen, it's not going to be your spouse. So I'm not telling you to pray for their looks or pray for the certain aspects, but there's some things as a mother that you know how, and you should know what to be praying, or a grandmother or an aunt. I have a little shadow boxes for a gift for my future in-laws already, my future daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws. I know you're like, your kids are literally babies, but this is how I know how important it is. And I pray over my future kids, my future in-laws already, because I said, I know their impact on my kids' life will also affect my life. And if we get one like Esau got that causes grief to the family, how that will cause chaos. I want unity. Unity, there's power, there's strength. So it is very important. It's very important that you pick the right person. So as a parent, as a guardian, as someone, a seer over top of whomever, whether it's a youth group, whether it's a women's Bible study, whatever it may be, you've got to pray in and pray out the wrong people, and you also have to be very direct with your prayers. If you realize somebody's up to no good, you don't need to go run your mouth. You don't need to go tell them this flaw and that flaw, because more often than not, that actually causes rebellion. But you need to get in your prayer closet and you need to begin to pray that God unmask the enemy and reveal his true purposes and reveal the real person that you are seeing. So it is vital that you take what you see and you discern into prayer. Because if you prematurely take it to a young girl or young man, they are going to get rebellious more often than not, unless the Spirit of God is already dealing with them and God is telling you it's time to tell them. I go on to talk about Ruth and Boaz, and that confirms the very first page of this book about you've got to know your timing. You've got to not rush things. You've got to stay in God's timing, stay in God's season. When you're in God's season, you're in a season of harvest. See, if I step prematurely, I'm before the harvest. If I step out too late, the harvest has done been there, and I'm too late. So the timing of God is very important. So please be careful and be diligent to watch the timings. I go on to talk about Jacob, Leah, and Rachel, and how Laban, what we say is underhanded, and he does things sneaky, and he did. There was a better way that he could have went around this. There were some ways that he could have maybe done things differently. Maybe if he had done things differently, you wouldn't have a rivalry between the children. You've got to be careful, because everything that we do causes a reaction. Our action causes a reaction every time we move out. So we got to be careful, because we got to judge our actions, say, what will this cause? What effects will this cause? Is this for our benefit, or is this going to actually cause more harm? I'm going to talk about Mordecai with Esther, and she is probably my favorite, because to be honest with you, we have a lot of young girls, and we advise them very wrong. We advise them look for those with money, because love will fade or whatever. But I can tell you right now, my husband and I had whatever money we needed for a fertility doctor. And yet, if we didn't have love to get us through, we would have car killed each other, or we wouldn't have made it. It was only because we had love, not money getting us through that season, that kept us together. It was only because of his love and compassion on me and my love and respect for him that got us through those hard, dark times. Money wouldn't have been enough. You got some that tells their young women, you make sure to put your foot down and you get the upper hand into the relationship, or you're never going to have it. That is wrong. Now, I'm not saying that I disagree that there's some things from the beginning that need to start, because there is. Because how you start a marriage is how a marriage ends. But there's ways of going about things, and there's ways of doing things. Becoming a bossy, domineering woman is not scriptural. That is actually everything God says not to be. Page 25, I'd like to read a little something. One of the most common issues in marriage is allowing the wrong people to advise you. Did you guys notice that a lot of our young women, we have loose lips to the wrong people? What works in their home may not work in yours. You know what I mean right there by, if I was you, I would do this, this, and the other. And that this, and the other might actually make you end up back at home or end up divorced. You don't want that. You got to ask God, what do I do about this situation? You want to ask godly counsel. Go to your pastors. Go to the head of your women's ministry. Go to a marriage counselor. Seek their advice. Don't go to somebody off the street whose marriage is barely hanging on by a thread. Don't go to somebody who's already having issues all the time anyway. Don't go to somebody whose husband can't stand to be in the same room with them. That's everything you don't want. So their advice is exactly what you do not need. Go to somebody with godly standards and godly morals, and they will direct you in the right way. As a parent, we need to explain to our children not to follow the steps of foolish people. What may look good on the outside may be very ugly seen behind closed doors. Respect is a very important thing, and this is something is very lacking in many of our marriages. Respect, mutual respect. I'm talking a husband respecting his wife, and I'm talking about a wife respecting her husband. As a young wife, we have to respect our husbands even if they are in the wrong. By staying obedient to our call, we are opening blessings up to our home. Obedience is grounds where God can move. The worst thing we can do as a parent is encourage our young women to be bossy and run over their husbands. That is what to get what they want. This day and age, submission is looked down upon. In all walks of life, you see women boasting of being strong and independent, providers for their home, and often they never have a kind word about the men in their life. True strength is being able to be submissive to authority in obedience to Christ. It is harder keeping your mouth shut than working 9 to 5, and that is the God's heaven truth. It is a lot harder to keep my mouth shut, not say what's really on my mind, than to take hours and read a book or to train children. It is harder to walk away than it is to put in manual labor to something. Not to say men should run over their wives. Wives are valuable and are important to everyday tasks, and their opinion matters. But ultimately, the husband's decision is the law. Despite what culture tells you, that is scripture, and it is not outdated. By staying obedient to the call, God will exalt that home in due time. And then I have some scriptures. I'm only going to read one today. Better to live in the wilderness, so that means out in the harsh elements, out in the rain, out in the snow, out in the heat. So better to live in the wilderness where there's no comfort and there's no soft bed, there's no air conditioning, than with a nagging and hot-tempered wife. Proverbs 21:19. Queen Vashti lost her place as queen due to her disobedience of a command. Yes, the king was drunk and just wanted to flaunt her, but she rebelled him openly and publicly. These acts brought disgrace to her husband and caused her to lose her crown. Her beauty was not enough to persuade him to overlook her actions. And I love this. Don't let your daughters lose her crown. It's important. If you're going to raise a queen, you best raise her to know how to act like one. Encourage her in the precepts of God. Encourage her to submit to and obey her husband. Train her to be a Proverbs 31 woman of virtue. What does that woman of virtue say? It says that her husband will rise, her children will rise up and call her blessed, and so will her husband will praise her in the gates. It is an asset to know how to work your mouth. The atmosphere of your home is set by the words you speak and the tone you use. Listen, I can say all the right things and have a terrible tone. The tone is as important as the words. You choose to be a wife and a mom that speaks blessings or calls out curses. That hit me in the gut when the Lord asked me that one day. Are you a woman that's going to bless? Or are you going to call out the curse? When you call out the curse, you become in agreement with it, and you've asked that curse to manifest. I don't know about you, but I never want to ask a curse to manifest. I never want to get into agreement ever again. I want to be a woman who spots the curse, breaks it, and speaks blessings against it. Most marriages fall apart when there is a disease that is eating at a part of the inside. The disease is the effect of an infection caused from harsh words that have settled in the soul of the hearer and gone unforgiven. Did you not just hear that? It is an infection caused from harsh words that have settled. That means it's took root, it's made a home in the soul of the hearer, so that person which heard it, and gone unforgiven. So not only did it went to the ears, but it went to the heart. Your heart can eat itself up with anger, bitterness, and even hatred towards your mate. You can come to despise and loathe them because of their treatment with you. That infection of harsh words has stung and attacked your soul on a daily basis. Negative words are like an infection. If it goes untreated, it will keep spreading until the infection is so bad that death of the marriage is the only hope you see to be rid of the disease you are living with. Saying I'm sorry and I forgive you is vital to cure the word infection happening in your home. The treatment is the replacement of harsh words, changed to words of love and encouragement to heal the disease eating you up. But also you have to stay in a state of forgiveness. It will release you of all darkness that is trying to harbor inside of you. The disease inside of you will not just stay contained with you. After some time, it becomes contagious when your words are continually put in the atmosphere of your home. It will begin to affect your mate and eventually your children. I have seen this firsthand. What starts with the heads go down to the body. So what starts with the children, or the husband and the wife, eventually goes to the children. You'll see the children either disrespect their mother or their father, whoever is the negative one in the scenario. And then not only that, they lose respect for all authority. So that means teachers, that means aunts, that means uncles, that means grandparents. It means that they have no problem running their mouth and telling them off, and it has no problem spewing negative and hurtful words, because that's what they're used to in their home. They will lose respect for their parents, and they will not know how to respect their future mate either, as they were not shown the way of respect. Young men will call young girls, and young ladies will badmouth and disrespect their young gentlemen. Don't lose your crown because of loose lips. Be a wise woman. The throne is yours, and you need to understand that is your place. Don't give it up. Mothers and fathers, train up your children like Mordecai did Esther, watching intently for their welfare, advising them well and in the ways of for the marriage to be blessed. Next I go on to talk about you are already what you are. So I start with the scripture this, he who finds a good wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord, Proverbs 18:22. So I've always heard that a preacher is already a preacher before he steps onto a platform, because basically it's in them. It's like fire in their bones. They have to get out the words of God. It doesn't matter if it's to the trees when they're on a morning hike. It doesn't matter if they're just to your friends and said, I got to call and tell you what the Lord showed me. It just goes on to full on preach. It doesn't matter who it's to, but who you are finds you. So that means to tell me I don't become a good wife once I'm married. It means I've been trained, and I've been settled in my spirit who I am. And when I get married, who I am, it manifests, it becomes it. So it means that he who finds a good wife finds a good thing. So I'm already a good thing. I'm already trained. I'm already well equipped to handle my new role as wife. It means that I'm going to get to a place, a position to where I'm going to be a good thing for my husband. Back in the beginning when God created Adam and Eve, what did he say? After everything he created, he said, it is good. So God has created you to be a good thing to your husband. You're not supposed to be a foolish woman who destroys her own home by pulling it down with her own hands. You need to build up your home. So even now, if you're in the waiting, even now if you are divorced, even now, whoever you are, if you are already married, but you need a kind of a restart, today can be your restart. Today you can become a good thing. And that good thing is an edifier. She uplifts, she builds up. She doesn't tear down her home. She doesn't negative her home, but she speaks positive. She speaks blessings, not cursings. So you are a good thing, and you need to tell yourself, a good thing never has to settle. A good thing is already who she's supposed to be. So according to Proverbs 18:22, you are already a wife when he finds you, meaning that you have been groomed to be something, and you are what you are called to be while you wait to be found. Being a wife is called a good thing, and you are an asset to your husband, to your home, and to your children. You are good for your marriage and for your husband. The quality that makes you good are the qualities found in the fruit of the Spirit that comes from a life of spiritual discipline. It's okay. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. Galatians 5:22-23. A wife who is found also has the virtues found in Proverbs 31. Some of those virtues are a woman who is trustworthy, a woman who compliments her husband and is an asset to her home, a woman who brings honor to her home and honor to her husband, a woman who prays diligently, watching on her watchtower. She is a woman who has strength, utilizes her time well, is charitable to others, and has endurance to finish tasks that she has started. A virtuous woman is well dressed, a provider, and is also kind. But one of her most important virtues she has is that she fears the Lord. You should be all these things before anyone ever makes you a wife. He who finds you should be finding a good thing. Now, it's the end of our chapter 2. Chapter 3 is testimonies about being a wife, and I do think I'm going to share a couple points, because we're overcomers by the word of the Lord, by the word of our testimonies, right? So I think I am gonna next week pick out maybe one or two and just talk about it before we go into the spiritual aspect of the book. I hope today's live has spoke to you, maybe brought some clarity on some things. If you have questions or if you have something you want to add for next week, I will put up the post again at the beginning of the week, and we'll do the live on Wednesday. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you guys are enjoying the reread of this book.